All right, Jordan, we are ready on eScribe and YouTube.
Great, thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. It's 10:15, so we can go ahead and get started. I'll call the Land Planning Committee to order. First of all, I'm having audio issues this morning. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, okay, great. We continue to meet virtually, and instructions for joining the meeting are found on our agenda, which can be accessed at ci.missoula.mt.us/webcasts. And there you'll find information on how to join the live meeting. Our first item of business is roll call. Amanda, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Anderson? Absent. Becerra?
Present.
Carlino? I see you. I didn't hear you.
Here.
Perfect. Contos?
Here.
Hess?
Present.
Jones?
Present.
Jordan?
Present.
Nugent?
Here.
Savage?
Here.
Cheryl?
Present.
Vasika?
Present.
And West? Absent. All right, and it does look like we have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, we have minutes from January 5th. Are there any changes to those minutes? Seeing none, those will stand approved. And I will note for the record that we don't have any members of the public present for public comment on non-agenda items. We have one regular item of committee business, and this is the conditional use request that we heard on Monday night. Just for the new members, what we have done for the past several months, and I mentioned this briefly on Monday, but done for this, I guess maybe 9 months or so, is we have a public hearing on Monday for land use items. Then the item's back in committee and is a discussion item. And then it's back for final consideration the following Monday. So this is an opportunity to ask questions, to get any additional information, to express any concerns that you may have that might result in a condition, and that sort of thing. This is a fairly straightforward land use item, so it very well may be that there's not very many questions, and that's totally fine. And this is back at our regularly scheduled meeting then on the 24th. We can have Deborah do an overview if anyone wants it, or provide any additional information. Deborah, I'll turn it over to you for anything that you want to add from Monday, or any additional information that may have emerged, and then we can go back to committee questions and comments.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, everybody. I did look into the parking question that Heidi asked on Monday a bit more. And so I counted all the different exam and therapy rooms for patients / animals to be in. And with the 5 to 7 employees, so there's around 15 total exam therapy, specialty, operation rooms. And with the 5 to 7 employees, that adds up to 22. So I think the parking that they have provided will be sufficient. And, with it being a pet emergency center, there's no way to say when the emergencies will happen. So I think with those numbers, their parking should be good. And I can answer any more questions regarding that or anything else. If y'all would like me to go over the project a little bit more, I can do that. Just let me know.
Thanks. As the mayor said, and is also my experience, pet emergencies also always happen at 5:30 p.m. on Friday. It's the only time they happen. Daniel.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification about parking. I think we were I was also concerned, not that there might not be enough parking spots, but also like if the minimum parking requirement is so high, then that would take away from like green space or other things there. So I was curious, like if it would make sense to lower the parking minimum for a project like this.
In my personal opinion, parking minimums are a topic I think could be lowered, but just per Title 20, it's what we have to require. So yeah, that's what I'll say about that, unless Cassie wants to add anything.
Yeah, Cassie Trepard, planning supervisor. Sorry, my internet's bad, so my camera isn't on today. But yeah, so that they are providing the Title 20 bare minimum requirement for parking. I think that lowering parking is something we do want to look at with the future code reform. But if you were to try to condition that, it would be conditioning it out of compliance with Title 20. That's something that would normally be a variance. But yeah, that's something we are hoping to tackle more with code reform.
Thanks. And I'll just add also that the parking chapter rewrite has been on the staff work plan since before the code reform project, and now so it is something of interest, and it'll definitely there'll be opportunities to weigh in on it on a wholesale basis citywide, rather than the project basis through code reform. Mirta?
Thanks. I was going to say Lego pieces everywhere and a puppy can surely guarantee a trip to the vet, especially middle of the night. So been there. Deborah, can you remind us what the public or neighborhood notification is for a conditional use? I can't remember, but I'm wondering if and how that happened, if you received any comments from neighboring properties.
Yeah, so I sent out adjacent property owner letters to all the properties adjacent to the subject property, and also went and posted at the site. I actually had a picture in the presentation of where, we had hammered in a big poster on the two frontages of the site. And I received no public comment, and yeah, no public comment on this.
Thank you.
Thanks. Gwen?
Thanks. I had a comment and then I've got a question, but I first wanted to just follow up on the parking. And I think, well, we do need to revisit parking in our codes, and we are always looking at that as an issue. But when I kind of took a step back and looked at this project, I think also sometimes we need to look at it holistically, because a vet emergency offices, I don't think we're going to incentivize anybody to use alternative transportation to get there unless they absolutely already have to, because you're going to drive your animal to this place when something's wrong. So I think we need those spots, and I think this actually, given the nature of this business, it does dictate those spots. So I just wanted to put that out there as something else to just ponder. But my question was, going back to design excellence, I wanted to discuss, with design excellence, I wanted to talk about, do we typically require the parking to be in the back instead of out on the street? And could you talk about that a little bit? I think given the fact that they want to use the old vet clinic while they build the new one, and the incredible value and the difficulty of having to regroup and have it somewhere else. I just wanted to flesh that issue out. I'm fine with it as is, but I think normally we do try and incentivize parking in the rear.
Yeah, so this is in Design Excellence Corridor Typology 4. And in other design excellence typologies, you're correct in the fact that it would not be permitted to put parking between the main street and the building. Usually we do incentivize putting the parking behind the building to activate the public realm. which is, one of the good things about design excellence. But in this typology 4, it offers flexibility in the siting of the parking, and parking is permitted between the building and the street. And with Reserve being, a busier street, I think that's why this specific property is in typology 4, where it's perhaps less of a public realm and it's a big vehicle corridor. And Cassie's might have more to add to that, but
Yeah, that was a good explanation. There are different sub-districts, including corridors of varying levels up to 4, as well as downtown. Corridor typology 4 is the most lax district, given its Reserve and it's already very car centric. You already see a lot of parking in most cases between the building and street. Whereas, say Brook Street or downtown, that's absolutely not permitted. This one is more flexible.
Great, thank you for that. I think I was more focused on the design excellence application in my ward, which does emphasize parking in the rear. So I appreciate that information. Thank you.
All right. Apologies, I turned off my video to cough instead of muting to cough. So apologies for the disruption there. Any additional questions or comments from anyone? Okay. And is everyone, new members, are you good on conditional use from the standpoint of this project, or should we talk a little bit about conditional use in general? I don't want to put staff on the spot, but Deborah or Cassie or Walter, if any of you wanted to kind of talk briefly about conditional use, that might be helpful. Kristen, do you have a question first?
Sorry, I'll wait and hear what they have to say, and then maybe I'll have a question in the end. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I can try to speak on it just more big picture. So in our permitted use table for each zoning district, you have uses that are not allowed, uses that are allowed outright, meaning they can just get a building permit. There's no public hearing process. And then there's conditional uses, which are uses that may be appropriate in certain locations in that zoning district, but other times may not be, depending a lot of the time on what's around it, context of the roads in place, and the actual use and activities going on there. So in these cases, we do go the extra step, take it to city council and get approval from you guys, or denial approval with conditions. And part of it being conditional means that sometimes this project or use is appropriate in that location if it meets kind of additional things, X, Y, and Z. In this case, we're not seeing, staff aren't recommending additional conditions to sort of mitigate the impacts of this use on surrounding properties because it already really is there. But in the future, you might see an instance where we are recommending that they meet additional things to mitigate impacts on the surrounding neighborhood. Does that kind of touch on it broadly? Happy to answer specifics.
Thanks, Cassie. Kristen?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I do anticipate I'll have some questions in the future, but about this particular project, I think I've got it. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, well, I don't see any additional questions and there's no public to comment. So if there's nothing further, we will be adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.